on YouTube. So, all right. Hey, welcome everyone. It is Boss Attorney Bri. Thank you for joining my live stream. As you can see by the title, we are going to be talking about Travis Scott and the tragedy that happened at Astroworld. If you know about the situation and you think that Travis Scott is liable, go ahead and drop a Travis Scott down in the comment section. If you think that someone else is liable, like the EMTs or maybe the concert goers that didn't have their tickets that started rushing the crowd, go ahead and comment that below. I just want to welcome the people that are watching this on replay. Feel free to make a comment on this video if you have an opinion on who you think is responsible for the tragedy that happened at Astroworld. Before we get deep into it, I do want to offer my condolences to the family members that lost loved ones during the Astroworld Festival. I also want to offer my condolences to the people that were injured and had to go to the hospital, and then just for the people that were injured and suffered throughout that whole festival. So we're going to get right into it, and we're going to go back into the background of exactly what Astroworld is and who Travis Scott is. Okay, so for those of you that do not know, Travis Scott is an American rapper, and he throws a festival called Astroworld, which is named after his 2018 album that is really popular among his fans. I am personally not a Travis Scott fan, so I would not know what songs are on that album, but apparently it is a very popular album and he is a very popular artist. He sold 100,000 tickets to this festival, and about 50,000 people were there at the time that the tragedy occurred on November 5th. At around 9:30 p.m. at the concert, when Travis was doing his set, this is when the crowd surging started and people started to get hurt. So let me just go into this a little bit. For those of you that are over on TikTok, feel free to come over on YouTube. I will be able to answer your questions over on YouTube, okay? All right, so on November 5th was the first day of the festival. It's supposed to be a 3-day festival. People started pushing each other, and it resulted in people falling down, being trampled on, being suffocated by the amount of people that were pushing, trying to get closer to the stage. It resulted in 8 people passing away at the actual event, and other people, about 25 people, being sent to the hospital after the event, and 2 more people has died since the day. Some people are on life support, and it has been confirmed that 2 more people have died, including a 9-year-old, because of what happened at the event. Dozens of people were hospitalized. Dozens of people were taken to the hospital to have injuries treated. And there was about 300 people that actually were treated by EMTs over at the concert. So they didn't necessarily need to go to the hospital, but they did get treatment due to injuries. There were a lot of people falling over. A lot of people described it as being like a domino effect. Once you fell, someone else fell, and someone else fell on top of you. So a lot of people were being suffocated once they fell, and it was extremely hard for them to get up, which is why it makes sense that a lot of people did end up suffering injuries, and that there were so many people that did pass away. And again, we offer our condolences to the people that passed away. We're not going to show any of the videos because they are pretty horrific to watch. This is a trigger warning for anyone that is watching this live, that this event was pretty traumatizing for a lot of people. And the watching people be trampled over is a traumatic experience. And the fact that people passed away at a concert due to the incitement by the artist is also a very traumatic experience. So if you are not interested in this topic, or you don't want to talk about things like that and why Travis Scott might be liable, then this is not the live for you. But if you are interested to learn about the legal things about this actual event, then stay tuned. All right, so we're going to go back to talk about the history of Travis Scott and why I personally think he is liable. Some people believe that the people that actually rushed the crowd are liable because they're the one actually doing the activity, and that the artist should not have had that much control over them in order to incite them to run people over. But we have to think about it. People are really excited to be at the concert. They're really excited to see their favorite artist. So it makes sense that people would listen to their favorite artist and rush the stage, or just rush the stage because they wanted to. But having that encouragement from Travis Scott, I think, led a lot of people to think it was okay to go ahead and rush the stage. So let's go back to 2015. Travis Scott was actually arrested for inciting a crowd at Lollapalooza Festival in Chicago. He encouraged them to basically jump the barrier. This is also what he encouraged his fans to do this time, and they actually did it, and they were successful in it, and they went to the concert. They were able to participate in the concert without buying tickets. Some people may have already had tickets, but there were some people in there without tickets, which is already a lot because 100,000 tickets were sold and 50,000 people were there, okay? And then so the next event that happened was May 13th of 2017. He again encouraged his fans to breach the barricades and overrun the security, which they did. They did that here in 2021, which resulted in people losing their lives. I don't remember the exact date of the event that happened. I believe it was in 2019 when he encouraged a fan to jump off of the banister, but don't quote me on the date there. Jump off the banister, and when he hit the ground, that fan became paralyzed and could no longer walk. So he has done this on multiple occasions, so it's not really a surprise that this happened at this festival, but to the extreme that it happened at this festival is what is really bad about him doing that. Okay, and then in 2019, again, he encouraged a crowd surge, which at the Astroworld Festival, which again happened at this one, except to a much more extreme length. People were injured and people were killed in this incident. So let's jump fast forward to November 5th, where this accident took place. As I stated earlier, at 9:30, Travis began his, or around 9 o'clock, Travis began his set. Around 9:30 is when the security were notified that people were starting to pass out and die. There were some occasions where Travis Scott did stop the show, but then they continued to do the show. So he only stopped for a few seconds, and then he would continue to perform and move on with whatever he wanted to do. Again, people started crowd surging, which just means that the people in the back started pushing towards the front so that they can get a better view of Travis, or so that they can get closer to the stage, potentially get on the stage with him. I don't know what their exact ideas were with surging the stage, but they were doing it. He continued to perform, and like I said earlier, approximately 300 people were treated on site. Approximately 25 people were transported to the hospital. 8 people died at the festival, and then an additional 2 more people have died since the festival. They were either in a coma or fighting for their lives because of their injuries, and they did pass away due to their injuries. It's very important to note that everyone that died from this event were under the age of 30, which will likely prove to show that they would not have died other than for what Travis Scott was doing at his concert, or what he encouraged to happen at his concert. There's no indication that anyone had any health issues, that they could have possibly died without the things that happened at the concert. So in my opinion, I believe it's going to be pretty easy to show the jury or the court that Travis Scott is the cause of their death. All right. And so after all of that happened, they started finding out that people were falling. They started finding out that people were getting hurt and that the crowd was not under control. They went ahead and stopped the show around 10 p.m. And then for the next few days of the festival, so for Saturday and for Sunday, they canceled the show. After they canceled the show, the first lawsuit was filed on November 6th in Harris County in Texas. And on social media, Kylie and Travis both claimed that they did not know what was going on. They could not make out what was going on. They just assumed that it was normal festival festival behavior, and that they did not know that people were getting hurt and people were dying due to all of the crowding. He didn't encourage the fans to spread out. He didn't encourage the fans to stop pushing towards. He often encourages his fans to rage at his concerts, which is one of the biggest arguments that the attorneys are making in this case to find him liable. All right. And so after all of that happened, Travis Scott is actually offering full refunds to people that bought tickets to Astroworld in order to compensate them for the fear that they had, for the pain that they had to endure, for the fear that they had to endure in this concert. He's offering full refunds, which is likely not enough to cover the pain and suffering that people went through during this festival. So kudos to him for offering refunds, but it's likely not going to be enough in this case. And then the FBI is actually assisting with some technical parts of the investigation, which is a pretty big indication that this is going to be pretty bad for Travis, and he's probably going to be found liable for some criminal things and for some civil things. So this is something he definitely wants to watch out for. Travis Scott is also offering to pay the funeral costs for all the people that passed away, and then also provide aid or financial aid to people that were hurt at the concert. As of now, there are about 93 lawsuits that have been filed on this action. And with that, I have to note that it's a strong likelihood that this will be turned into a class action, because 93 lawsuits all suing for pretty much the same thing, which is negligence, gross negligence, maybe some recklessness here and there, inciting a crowd and things like that. Those are likely going to fall into a class action, so that the judge and so that Travis's attorneys are not being spread here and there trying to handle 90 different lawsuits that are all alleging almost the same thing, that almost have all the same facts and things like that. They will probably be able to certify as a class action rather than joining everybody that was at the lawsuit, or not at the lawsuit, that was at the concert into one lawsuit. It will likely be considered a class action. Which a lot of people are not going to want, because they want to prove that their damages are maybe more than someone else's or not equal to someone else's. But when people don't really have super full injuries, it's going to be a little harder for them to get to that $1 million threshold that a lot of these lawsuits are asking for. Some lawsuits are saying they're requesting an undisclosed amount, and other lawsuits are just going straight for the $1 million for the pain and suffering, for the injuries, for the distress, anything that happened at the concert. That is what they are asking for. So, like I said, most of the lawsuits are claiming negligence and gross negligence. And one of the things that they state is that the planners or the organizers failed to plan properly or to conduct a concert in a safe manner. This is really important because we have to show that there was negligence. In order to show negligence, you have to show that there was a duty of the person that you're suing to act in the goodwill or in the benefit of you, which usually means like, okay, I have a duty to make sure no one at my concert gets hurt. That is something for an organizer to do. And that's where a lot of people get confused, and where they're saying, well, Travis Scott should not be liable because he is just an artist. He had no way to protect the people in the crowd because he was on the stage. But Travis Scott is also an organizer. He was responsible for putting security into place. He was responsible for getting the right EMTs into place, enough EMTs into place, and enough security into place. And there were many security guards saying, hey, I've never been a security guard in my life, but here I am at Travis Scott's concert, and I am now a security guard, and I'm not really going to be checking your purses. I'm not really going to be checking your wallets, or not your wallets, but I'm not really going to be checking you before you go into it. I'm not really stopping you from breaking into the concert, because why would they? Travis Scott actually encouraged them to break into his concert. So being loyal fans, they're most likely going to listen to him and jump into the concert, which they did. All right. So in my opinion, I believe that Travis Scott did have a duty to protect his fans. He had a duty not to get them too riled up. He should have already known that they would be excited to see him. So there was no point in encouraging them to go ahead and start pushing towards each other. 50,000 people, that is a lot of people. That's a lot of bodies to be pushing up. And there were children in the crowd, and there was a lot of young people in the crowd as well. The next thing that you have to prove to show negligence is that the person who you're suing, which is Travis Scott and also Live Nation and other organizers of the event, but our main focus is on Travis Scott because he was the one on the stage and he was the one that did not stop the concert, and he was the one that actually encouraged people to break into the concert and to rush the stage. So that's who we're focusing on. You have to show that he basically breached his duty, which means that he failed to live up to what he should have lived up to. So he breached his duty. He basically did not provide the right security. He did not provide the right amount of EMTs. He did not stop the concert when he realized that people were being hurt, or according to him, he did not realize people were being hurt, but he probably had a duty to recognize that the crowd was getting feisty. And on top of that, there were people jumping on the stage, letting him know that people were actually being hurt. So I don't think that he can say he didn't know. I don't think he can say he didn't breach his duty. I really think that he did. He should have been paying a little bit more attention to what was going on and why people were actually jumping on his stage. He should have been actually listening to them, because you could see the fear in people's voices when they were trying to tell him that, hey, something is wrong. So I do think that he breached his duty in failing to provide a safe environment for his concert goers. On top of that, you have to show, or the next cause that you have to show is that he caused the injuries or he caused the harm to the people that are suing him. So, but for what Travis Scott did, this injury would not have happened to these people. I think there is a pretty good case to show that, but for Travis Scott telling people to rush his crowd, but for Travis Scott failing to hire enough security, but for Travis Scott failing to put up proper barricades around the concert to avoid people from breaking in, but for Travis Scott having adequate space and adequate EMTs to save people, but for Travis Scott failing to stop the concert, a lot of these people would not have been hurt. A lot of these people would not have been injured. A lot of these people would not have passed away. So I do think that they can prove cause in this situation. And the last thing is that they have to show that they were harmed, which most people will be able to do, especially because 300 people had injuries and they were treated by EMTs there. The people that went to the hospital will be able to prove their injuries because they went to the hospital. They likely had pretty serious injuries. And for the people that passed away, they definitely had harm because they lost their lives. And other people at the concert can likely prove that they had harm as well, but it might be a little bit more difficult if they did not go to the hospital. They might have to prove their mental state of what caused them to feel like that during the concert. So I do think that there is a pretty good chance that Travis Scott will be liable for negligence. Gross negligence is a little bit of a different standard, but I didn't want to focus on negligence again. And like I said, the lawsuits will likely turn into a class action because there are so many people, and it's going to be very hard to keep up with keeping everybody separate and getting everything done in that nature. I do think that it is going to be a class action. I don't think it makes sense to keep all of these lawsuits separate. We want to make sure that everyone's case is heard and everyone has a chance to prove their case. And I think the class action will be the easiest way for the court to handle it. I do think that next time I couldn't find any complaints on the internet today before I hopped on this live, but I do want to go ahead and find some complaints and hop on here again to kind of give a little bit more detail of what's going on in the case. Hopefully there will be some more movement in the case. And we can kind of see where everything is going forward. Are people going to drop the lawsuits? Or are they going to continue the lawsuits? If you guys think that they should continue the lawsuits, go ahead and comment below. Let me know, or comment in the chat box and let me know if you think that they should go forward with this lawsuit. If you think that they should stop the lawsuit and kind of let bygones be bygones, then go ahead and comment that. And for the people that passed away, a lot of them have not filed their lawsuits yet because they're going to be wrongful death lawsuits. Most of these lawsuits that are already going on are filed by people that were injured at the concert and that were just at the concert, not necessarily the families of people that passed away. They're having the time to grieve of their lost family member and having the time to get the case and get ready to talk to a lawyer. So again, I am going to try to jump on here again and kind of explain some of the things that are going on in the lawsuits when we have more information. Remember, this just started, or this just happened a week and a half ago, maybe a week and a half ago. So there's not very much going on with the cases. All I know is that every day there are more lawsuits being filed. And as we wait and see what happens to the people that were put into a coma, some people were put into medically induced in coma, some people were just already in a coma. So once those people either wake up or do not wake up, I think that there will be way more lawsuits. And for those people that are processing what they actually went through during the tragedy, I think those people will also be filing more lawsuits. And I do think that Travis Scott has some liability here. He has already had some criminal charges brought against him for doing similar things, and bringing that into the court case is probably going to make him look a lot more guilty and get these people the compensation that they require or that they need for being involved in something so aggressive that Travis Scott started. And maybe this time around, he will think more clearly before he starts to incite the crowd. Maybe he will be more considerate of what can happen to people, because this has not happened to him yet. And now that it's happened on such an extreme level, we're hopeful that he will either, some people want him to lose his platform, but if he doesn't lose his platform, most people want him to at least learn from the situation and not encourage raging at his concerts again. Comment in the chat box or drop in the comment below if you're watching this on replay whether you think that Travis Scott will lose his platform, and if he does not lose his platform, do you think that he will continue to encourage people to rage at his concert? So go ahead and drop that in the chat. Today, that is all I have for today. Like I said, I'm going to try to come on here and get some complaints so that we can go through it to see what their actual facts are and what their actual bases are. I know some people filed that actually had injuries and some people filed that didn't have injuries. And I would like to see what the people that didn't necessarily have physical injuries are alleging. I know some people are doing mental health and emotional distress. Those are going to be good claims, or those are going to be some claims that people are likely to consider as well, or are likely to try to prove as well. So once more complaints come out, once more information comes out on the lawsuit, I will be going live again, or maybe I will do a pre-recorded video on YouTube. If you are over on TikTok and you're not following or you're not subscribed to me on YouTube yet, make sure you head over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys all next time.